This is Jennifer Hale, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And, I should go.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 286 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And it was the 4 greatest days in gaming, but this year you didn't even have to wear pants. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like Rick on the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
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 We're back.
We are back indeed.
Yes.
Unexpected extended hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. Life happens.
Yes.
Does indeed.
Yep.
But we're just grateful this year at this point that we have been as consistent as we have been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
Very, 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 very.
Yeah.
That's But yeah, so we're glad to be back, and hope everyone's been doing okay and checking out our D&D things that we've been posting and enjoying those wild and crazy stories.
Mhm. Yeah. It's like we may not be posting podcast episodes, but there's still stuff to post about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some
Mhm.
of that we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, as much as we don't want to, we need to do the news before we get to the fun stuff.
We need to we need to remove those band-aids.
Yeah.
As they are.
Yeah. So thankfully, the news will get better as we move on.
Yay.
Slowly but surely, we hope.
Slowly but surely.
Mhm.
Oh, but yeah, the news did pile up just a little bit. That was just a really bad imagery considering most of this is 10 o'clock news.
It was, and like this first one happened mere hours after we finished recording our last episode, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and then they just kept coming.
I know. And so, yeah, so you've probably already gone through all the stages of grief on this one. This one was a gut punch.
Yeah.
Same for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe people still are, but jeez, I'm like, how? But Grant Imahara, probably most commonly known from as a host of MythBusters and the White Rabbit Project. He was also in Star Trek Continues he played Mr. Sulu in that fan project. He passed away rather suddenly at age 49, and I'm just like, what? No, wait, what? No.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? Why? Ugh, all the things. Just,
Mm-hmm.
this one did just, I don't know. It's a
Bad juju.
bad
And-
juju.
Not only was he like doing all that, he was behind a bunch of movies that we love,
Oh yeah.
like Star
Yeah.
Wars and
Yeah, I mean, he was he's got an engineering background, a lot like a lot of the cast from with MythBusters, is they have
Mhm.
lots of experience in like the movie and TV industry, so that's what they were able to bring to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he was an electrical engineer, roboticist, and so he worked on a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and he was also like one of my someone I went to library school with reminded me, and I remember her telling me about this several years ago, just how personable he was, because he came to the Salt Lake City Public Library several years ago to help with their summer reading kickoff, of all things. I mean, like, dude, you're a TV star, you're into
Wow.
all these things, and she was working for that system at the time, and it was like, such a shock that she posted these pictures, and I'm like, holy cow, you got to meet him? How was he? And she was like, oh my gosh, he's such a sweetheart. He was so happy to be there, just really like talking to all the kids and talking to people and just being really excited about promoting the helping to promote the library program. But I'm like, you're in Salt Lake City. I mean, yeah, it's not a small city, but it's not like, Los Angeles or New York or somewhere where you'd think, or Chicago or somewhere where you'd think big name would be. I don't know. It just was like, holy cow, you're here. Why are you here? I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get to meet him, but my friend did. And I'm like, I wish I'd have gone to your thing. So, but yeah, so it was just everything I'd ever heard about him. And just from watching him on TV, it's like, how can you not love him? How do you not love him? And now we're just, he's gone. And it's like, how, why? I don't get it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't watch / listen to it, Adam Savage has got his own video podcast up on YouTube called Still Untitled, and he did an episode talking about Grant,
Mm-hmm.
like a day or two after.
Mm-hmm.
So go listen to that, and you can just hear how much that he cared for him. So, but yeah. I like the quote from the article I've got. I'll have the link to in the show notes. 2008 interview he did. He said, "When I was a kid, I never wanted to be James Bond. I wanted to be Q because he was the guy who made all the gadgets."
Mhm.
How appropriate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, he's definitely a Q.
Yep.
But he will be very much missed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Next up, Regis Philbin,
Mhm.
passed recently at the age of 88. So he died of natural causes,
Mm-hmm.
month shy of his 89th birthday. But if you're if you were a kid in the pretty much the 90s and
Mhm.
you were ever stuck at home sick and
Yep.
watching daytime TV,
There he
you
was.
probably caught
Nice.
Live with Regis and Kathy Lee at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. In fact, when they
Yep.
changed, when Kathy Lee left and it was Kelly, I was like, I could never get my mind wrapped around that it's now Regis and Kelly instead of Kathy
Mhm.
Lee.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
But yeah, and then he was, the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, well, the first iteration of it, at least
Yep.
here in the States. So,
Is that your final answer?
Let's play Millionaire.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Remember when I was a kid, I thought, oh, I'm so small. I read a lot of books. And I started watching that, and I could never get past I think maybe the 1,000. I don't remember how.
I know it's
Hi.
like those first 5 questions are like, oh, these are super easy. Then you get past the different cutoff points, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, nope, never mind.
Mhm.
Even when they did the kid ones, so I didn't always get too high with those.
Yeah.
Ones. It
This wasn't taught in school.
Mhm.
It's like this is like college level stuff. If you studied the specialty, then you would know. But if you didn't, then you're out of luck.
Yeah.
was like,
And actually, since the announcement, but because we were not recorded, actually Regis has since been laid to rest at the cemetery that's right near the campus of Notre Dame University in South Bend, because he was a huge fan of Notre Dame
Oh,
where he went to college.
yes.
Oh, wow.
So,
Very huge. Very huge.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm like, hey, I've been to Notre Dame before. Not for college, but for Just
But
visiting.
yeah. So you're like, I know where that is.
Yes. I can go pay my respects to Regis.
Oh, well, say hi to him for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Indeed.
And next up, what is Olivia de Havilland, who is best known, I think, for her role in Gone with the Wind, but she has passed away at the age of 104.
Wow. Yeah, when I saw this news, and I hadn't. Her birthday was not that long ago. Like there were news reports of she just turned 104, and I've been watching Gone with the Wind because I'm going to be on the Oscars podcast for that one. So I've been rewatching it to kind of freshen my memory of it, and she plays Miss Melanie Wilkes, Melanie Hamilton Wilkes. That everyone gets remarried and widowed and divorced and all over the place in this movie, but I always she just was, she was the sweetheart, contrasted to Scarlett O'Hara's not sweetheart, let's say. And she's kind of obnoxious in her sweetness, but at the same time it's like contrasting everything going on. You're like, and it's kind of like right now I need something happy and someone optimistic and hopeful and a little naive, because I'd like that right about now. Contrast with and she did. I mean, yeah, her Oscar, her she got nominated. Yes,
She got nominated for Gone with the Wind, but she did not win.
yeah, that's what I was like trying to remember if she won, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but
she
the
won in
nomination was
46.
definitely
And then
the nomination
3 years
was definitely
later, she got
well deserved.
another.
But yeah, so it's sad that she's passed, but holy cow, 104. I mean,
Yeah, that's
some
a very
applause there.
good long life.
Indeed.
Yes, I mean when it happens, it's remarkable, and it's something good to note. And for all accounts,
Yeah.
she was a very classy lady. So
Mhm.
rest in peace, Miss
Mhm.
Melly.
Yes.
And
And then
then
another.
the last, I hate to laugh, but this is one of those where like it slowly started creeping the internet, and a lot of people are like, "Didn't he die like years ago?"
Mhm.
Just one of those, older actors that people hasn't done anything, just quietly retired, and
Mhm.
really done a whole lot to be in the limelight. So you just like, well, I haven't heard about them, so they must be dead. But I don't want to make light of it, but
Well, no, I mean, but if you haven't heard of her, I mean, he was one of those. It was Wilford Brimley. He
Yeah.
passed away at
I think-
85.
depending on what age you are, if you ever
Mhm.
stayed up watching late night, like info, and they start showing like not necessarily infomercials, but like the super long commercials.
Mhm.
Of like your 90-second commercial, you get like a 5-minute commercial where they go like really in depth and give you like the phone number to call to order 5 million times. Most of us know him as the diabetes guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well,
Or the grandfather on Our House.
Yeah.
Or if you manage to catch the Ewok Adventures on TV,
yes.
he played Noah.
Yeah.
Oh.
If he's one of the high points, I think, of the Ewok movie.
I
Yes.
was gonna say like
Well,
my dad had them on DVD. I was like, oh right, that's right. I remember now.
My connection or my knowledge of him is a little different than most people. Like, yeah, I know him from the diabetes commercials and some of those others he did. But when I was 4, my aunt, my dad's older sister, who since passed away, gave me a pop-up book of The Night Before Christmas from Hallmark, and it had a cassette tape.
Oh, he did the narration?
Yes, he did the narration. I still have the cassette tape. I
Oh.
still have the pop-up book. Like every Christmas, it's like one of my my heirloom
traditions.
There's tradition things because, again, my aunt gave it to me. She passed away when I was in high school. But even so, when I was little, I would listen to that cassette over and over and over and over again. So when I hear The Night Before Christmas, or when I read it, I hear it in Wilford Brimley's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like every time I hear him, he's like, "That's the Night Before Christmas guy," and that's who he is to me. And then also, he actually, when he retired, he moved to Utah. And he didn't like retire completely. He would still be in like some small time independent movies and stuff that would be on our like little local cable show. So, he'd show up just randomly in one of these movies that I'd catch. But for me, he's Night Before Christmas to me.
Nice.
Cool.
So, and I was like scouring YouTube because yes, I have the cassette tape. I don't have a way to play it. I should find just a cassette player for it. But I found it. I found the recording of it on YouTube.
Who can transfer the cassette to a digital format for you, so you have that.
I know. I did find it on YouTube, so I'm like, well, at least that's there. But I need to get it. I need to get a digital version of it because that pop-up book is just really special to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I still have it after all these years.
Yeah,
I'm very protective of it.
I do not blame you.
Yes, but it's just like when I heard that, I'm like, oh, it's my poem man, my Christmas, my Santa Claus. He's my Santa Claus in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was sad, but at the same time, it's like, well, he was up there in years, not 104, but 85 is still a pretty as an age, and so
I think he does win points for probably the best final tweet. He tweeted the day before he passed. What would my wrestler name be? Popular choices include Underquaker, because of the fake spokesperson, the face of Quaker Oats. Brimstone.
Nice.
Kilford Brimley. Or the Diabeestus.
I don't know which one I like the most. Like, they're all really great.
Let's just use them on a rotating basis, depending on what.
He could have several different characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. But yeah, like,
I am picturing the Undertaker like I know enough about wrestling. Like I know what the Undertaker looks like. I'm
Yes.
like that with like the Quaker outfit.
Mushy oatmeal, I do not like.
oh my gosh, that is amazing. Yeah, when I told Jared that Wilford Brimley passed away, he's like, wait, I just saw him tweeting the other day. And I'm like, but he didn't tell me. Well, I don't know if that was a tweet he saw, but
yeah.
Oh, good old Wilford Brimley. We will definitely miss you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I ever go, I hope I go out with that being something like that being my last.
Make sure you're tweeting funny things and
yes,
and,
just in case.
Just in case.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, thank you, Mr. Brimley, for that final laugh.
Yes.
Now that we're on the uptick, we can move on to the Hugo Awards. They had their ceremony.
And kerfuffle aside.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? The Hugos. If there's not drama at the Hugos,
They're not doing
it.
Well,
it's not the Hugos.
They're I don't want to get into it, but oh my gosh, they're just. I just sit back every year with a big bucket of popcorn and just laugh at them as they go, because I'm like, you guys are such a joke now. But that being said, Good Omens did win, and I feel like, okay, Sir Terry, you got your Hugo, because
finally
there was a story that he. I don't know. I should have double checked this, but there was someone was saying that he had been nominated in the past and always declined the nomination because he wanted to actually enjoy Worldcon and not be sitting there wondering, oh, what if I win? What if I don't? I don't know.
Mhm.
So now that, now he's got one, and he didn't even have to go through all the drama of did I win? Did I not win? I don't know. Blah.
Mhm.
But, yeah. So that one's for Terry Pratchett.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, that was Neil Gaiman posted a short video, kind of his quote unquote acceptance speech, and he's like, "Yeah, I had actually re-recorded something thinking we weren't gonna win. So I had to delete that and record this real quick."
Yeah, it's funny. I actually forgot about the Hugo Awards until I saw his post. I'm like, wait, that just happened, right? Oh, okay, yay! So,
Yep. So good on him for that.
Mhm.
Oh, and before we continue on, I forgot Mandalorian got some nice nominations for, I believe, the Emmys.
Yes,
Yes.
it did.
Yeah.
yes.
So that we did get Emmy Award nominations. Most of it is, once it's that time of year, we start getting into, awards ceremony season, and nothing we like ever gets nominated. But in this case, yes, The Mandalorian got a lot of nominations, and not necessarily just for technical ones. So,
About time.
which is always
Sorry.
good.
Yes. That was very exciting to see. But I mean, yes, it would deserve the technical nominations because holy cow.
Yes.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. A lot of TV, because the Emmys are TV. Most of a lot of the TV stuff is stuff that I've never watched, so I gotta, whatever. So it's all stuff I've heard of, just haven't watched.
Right.
That being said, yes, the Mandalorian did get nominated in some big categories like Outstanding Drama Series. It's in the same category as The Crown and Stranger Things.
and it's probably got a good shot at winning. I mean,
Do the wavy hand thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe do the wavy hand thing, but
not necessarily anything in the acting categories, but that is what it is. But Olivia Colman did get nominated Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series for playing Queen Elizabeth in The Crown, which is, I think to be expected. I think because she gets nominated for lots of things because she's awesome. Helena Bonham Carter got nominated as supporting actress.
there's
we'll
some
have to wait and see what. I should say mostly no acting nominations. Giancarlo Esposito did get nominated for Best Guest Actor.
Okay.
For his appearance in The Mandalorian. So
part of me is like, I kind of wish Pedro Pascal had gotten a nomination just because, acting in that armor and just
the body language. Put out. I mean, that's acting.
Yeah, it is. Although the only problem is, in at least one of the episodes, it was his stunt double doing all the acting.
Yeah, which is probably why, depending, I'm sure it's a percentage.
I'm sure, because I was thinking like, but wait, oh well, maybe there's a technicality there. So okay, you can slide this time, Emmy nominating committee, whatever you are.
Yeah,
but still.
So and he has two stunt doubles if I remember right. One does sort of oh no, I'm gonna stop before I watched. They were talking about it on the
Disney Gallery.
Yeah,
is that the one? Yeah,
totally forgot exactly because I remember there was two stunt doubles. He's got one for a specific thing and another one for. But
one's probably more stunts and the other's probably body.
Probably, One of them,
makes sense.
Is John Wayne's grandson, which was cool because Mandalorian is all westerny, Western in space, basically.
Yeah.
So people had fun with that. But yeah, I kind of wish he could have, but I'm sure there's some rule in there about that. So, but anyway, we'll be keeping an eye on that. If The Mandalorian wins, I would love it. I'm not gonna get my hopes up just because the Crown, first off, like
Yeah. It's like the Crown's really good too.
Yeah.
So well, we'll see.
We will see. But
Yeah.
that's good they got nominated.
Yeah. And we'll see what they decide to do for the Emmy Awards with
Mhm.
everything that's going on. So,
Well, I've read some of they're going to be virtual, but
yeah.
Oh,
other than that, I have no
I'm sure
idea.
they will. I'm sure it
And
will.
they'll still find a way to go over time, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's like we're streaming and we're still going too long.
Yes.
5 a.m.
It's like this time you literally have a button where you could just shut someone up. Just
Yes.
stop the feed.
Yeah, on the Zoom meeting, just you mute everybody.
Yeah.
Or
There
however
we
you
go.
do it.
Mute and then hang up.
It's like, and you're done. Bing.
Quite the interesting hosting people from the looks of things.
Yeah.
They should
Maybe it won't be a host. It'll just be someone running the room and like, okay, so and so, you're presenting this. Be ready for it. And they hit the button and say, "Okay, go," or "Okay, go," and then do that. I don't know. Who knows? I'm
Yeah.
not in charge.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. So, and then last up, going sort of back to Good Omens.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
very
If you
happy and
got a
surprised
little
when I see
money
this.
available to spend,
Yes.
two of TV's favorite angels have teamed
Mm.
up.
Yes.
Misha
Both
Collins.
very adorably cute.
Yeah. Misha Collins and Michael Sheen have teamed up and have created a small collection of it's a couple of t-shirt designs and a necklace.
Mhm.
And the profits, 100% of the profits are going to go to they each have a charity in their respective home countries. So Misha, obviously the American here in the US, Michael being Welsh, Wales and UK, will go to their respective charities that help family homelessness. But yeah, there's two shirts and the necklace,
Yep.
which right now, according to the shop stand's website, is only available until 10 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, August 11th. So as
You got a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time, but yeah, as soon as that went up and I was looking and I was like, oh, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, I did eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I had a Lucifer on my shoulder saying, "It's your birthday next month. Treat yourself."
There you
My
go.
mindset was, well, I'm not physically at Gen Con. I'm not buying any games or a shirt from like Key Turtle or anything. So
Mhm.
it's like, and it's for a good cause.
Cause?
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. That too.
That takes the sting out of your wallet a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's going towards a good cause. I'm helping other people out.
Yes.
And I'm getting some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's a
aren't going
memory.
to ship until the end of the month.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to wait a little.
Mm-hmm.
Even if
Yep.
you wait to the last minute to order,
You're still gonna have to
wait
wait.
several weeks for it to come in. So. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other like Castiel and other supernatural related stuff that's all niche.
And there's face masks, there's charms. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess if you want to get free shipping, order more.
I just noticed the model in the picture is wearing very Crowley sunglasses.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, because somebody had tweeted, okay, Okay, so Castiel and Aziraphale have teamed up. Now we need to get both Crowleys to team up to do something.
Really.
I'm
that's
just like,
that's scary.
That would be nice, but can we wait at least 2 months? Pocketbook wise.
Yes, like let our bank accounts heal up a little bit.
Yeah. Like, we're all for good causes, but one good cause at a time. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will put a link to the live stream that Misha and Michael did on Misha's Facebook page.
I still need to watch that.
Not quite as the two, obviously they get along they get along well. I don't know how well they knew each other before this. It's not quite as tear-inducing hilarity as like when Michael and David get together.
Mm-hmm. Give it time.
Goals right there, but these two together, it's still pretty entertaining, and it's definitely obvious that they're both very passionate about helping alleviate homelessness. Not just in their neighborhood, but all over the place. And somebody should check with Georgia and make sure that David's not missing, because Michael may have him locked in the closet.
Uh-oh. That would not be good.
You know what? From what I've seen of those two,
I would be surprised. Yeah. And I don't think both of them know how much overlap there is between both of the fandoms.
Yeah,
Good Omens and Supernatural.
Yeah,
it's just like, because I even messaged in one of the comments, I'm like, there's a lot of fandom overlap here.
Yeah. Even I noticed even like before Good Omens blew up again, like back before it was just a book, there was fandom overlap back then, because I remember seeing fan art.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've got the funds, obviously don't spend money you don't have. But if you've got the funds, you got till next week. So there you go. I'm excited to get my shirt though.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
Yes. So that is it for the news. See, I told you it would get nicer and happier as we went along.
We would actually have a little bit of fun in the news, as even though there was all that 10 o'clock news.
Yeah. And of course, we are in a new month, so that means book club update.
Yes.
Yes, it's August.
Yes, I know. Book for this month is the most recent Target story collection with all stories from all 13 doctors. And for some oddball reason, I had posted the poll on the 2nd. I went to look and it disappeared, so I reposted. Your choices for this month are the Gallifrey Chronicles, Chimes of Midnight, Flip Flop, and Light at the End. Yes, I decided to do 3 audiobooks.
And all 3 of them are excellent choices.
I don't know which one to choose.
I mean, it's you could say it's only August, but at the same time, it's already August, which is closer to November, which is Doctor Who anniversary month. So, Light at the End would be appropriate going into the fall.
Yes. So, I mean, if Light at the End doesn't make it for August, it will be on September's poll, October, November. I'm just picking books.
Just keep it on there, and eventually, maybe it'll work out.
Eventually it'll get voted
for November, and then
I will say this. I will say this about Light at the End, because that was the 50th anniversary Big Finish one, and every time I listen to that one, it's one of those things. The same thing with the Day of the Doctor. I'm like, I go back to that 50th anniversary year and all the fun, all the nostalgia, all the cool stuff they had going on. It just makes me happy. And
heck, the return of Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor.
Yes.
In that clip, I was just like,
yes, all of that. Like we talked about not too long ago. I guess it was the last year for the Doctor Who anniversary. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, and it's just one of those things. Like, I just love this. It's so wonderful, and I don't, you know, and the story's great and everything, but the spectacle of it is it's just I'm in my happy place.
And right at the end is the first and so far only a Big Finish audio that I have a physical copy of. I splurged and bought the special edition like as soon as they announced it.
It's pretty.
I wish I'd have bought it. I just got the download because I don't have room to store those things. But that one, I'm like, I wish I'd have bought the thing.
So I remember like the special, like the pre-order came out like around my birthday, so I had like that extra birthday money. Like,
happy birthday to me.
I didn't mind that I had to wait a few months before I actually got it. But
it was worth the wait.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah. I'm jealous. There are days I'm just like, I should have just got the physical copy, but it's okay. I can listen to it whenever I want. And Chimes of Midnight, I'll just, plug that one. That one's a really good one. It's a good one. It's set at Christmas, but it's a kind of a scary Halloweenish sort of one, but it's good anytime.
Yes.
So the good thing about that one is it's, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere right now, it's summer and it's hot as blazes. So, listen to something that reminds you of Christmas.
Yes.
A little cooler.
And Flip-Flop's kind of a unique Seventh Doctor and Mel story.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've listened to Flip-Flop.
It's got an interesting gimmick where, because, Big Finish, They you have the downloads now, but back then, and they still do CDs, although it's depending on which one you get. But they'd always come out on 2 CDs, and this one there's the black CD and the white CD, and it's not A and B, and so you could put one or the other in and listen to that one, then listen to the next one, and the story makes sense no matter which one you listen to first. Hence the name Flip-Flop. So it's kind of interesting to listen to it, and you get to the end, and you're like, "But wait, it's supposed to start over again," or So you could just listen to it. It's the song that doesn't.
No.
But no, it
is back internet line and strangle you.
I better quit right there. But it's an interesting one. So it is good. That's one I haven't listened to as much as the other two, but it is a fun one. So any one of those, if you decide, and then unless you want to go with the Target short stories, that's cool too. But I'm just saying, I've listened to all these audios and they're all great. So you can't go wrong with whichever one you pick. It's just which one are you in the mood to discuss in the book club?
Yes.
All right, moving on to feedback. We got quite a bit of feedback from Shalane because she kept thinking of things. So she ended up sending us 3 messages, which I've condensed down, I hope, into something that makes
That's what happens
sense.
when we have 2 weeks off.
Yeah. People get time to ruminate on their
It's like, I was listening to you again and I have something to say.
Yes. So going back to our discussion about books into movies, because that was the last thing we did, is Shalane says that she used to watch the movies and then read the books, but because that's actually what she did with Harry Potter and Narnia and a little bit of Twilight. Why you subject yourself to Twilight is beyond me, but hey, to each their own.
It was a big deal back in the day.
I know,
and she is of a certain age, so
yes, that's true. Demographics, but I guess since then she has decided now she would prefer to read the books and then watch the movies.
It kind of flipped. I was like the opposite. Like I started, like I had to read the book and then watch the movie, and then like. I guess it kind of got away from me now. And also, there's been plenty of times when I've watched a movie when I was younger and didn't realize there was a book until much later.
Yes.
Like, oh, that was a book. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and she mentioned some of the ones that she has read that have been turned into movies, and she doesn't give her opinion on whether these are good or not. Just ones. Some we discussed, some we didn't, like To Kill a Mockingbird, Life of Pi, which I have the book. I've not read it yet. It's been sitting on my shelf for years. Pretty much everything by Jane Austen, of course. Percy Jackson, which actually is going to be a series on Disney Plus, apparently.
All the Percy Jackson fans are like holding their breath.
Yeah, really. Like,
There's a
Yeah.
did I know there's a musical?
Like, don't destroy Percy Jackson.
Well, at this point, it's like, don't destroy it even more than it has been on screen.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harriet the Spy, Bridge to, and I know
Terabithia.
Terabithia, but
Terabithia.
I've heard it said other ways. So
Oh, okay. I have. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to look that up. I've only ever heard it the one way. But
yeah, I've
that's
heard
same.
Terabithia, and I've heard Terabithia.
Oh,
I've never
So-
heard that way.
Yeah. Winn-Dixie, Holes, which we talked about, The Help, Crazy Rich Asians, A Wrinkle in Time, which we touched on a little, Wonder, and of course, almost everything Shakespeare. And then there are lots of classics, again, that we did not touch upon because we were trying to stick to stuff that we actually could have comparison for. But there are movies like The Wizard of Oz, Treasure Island, Charlotte's Web, a lot of the Disney stuff is based on books and or short stories. The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Even The Princess Bride is based on a book, which I have read.
It's good, but there are some. You get some history lessons to it, and then there's the good bits.
Yeah,
it's a spoof.
Is it a kissing book though?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is a spoof of fairy tale literature, the same way the movie is a spoof of fairy tale movies. So,
but it's really good though.
Yeah, it is. I got the special edition. I think it's the illustrated edition for my birthday a couple years ago. It's in storage right now, sadly, but I'm like, oh, I was so happy to get that one.
Apparently, The Black Cauldron is based on a book. It's called The Puritan.
Legends of Prydain. Yeah, Black Cauldron specifically, I think, is based on the second book. In the series.
She says it's book 2.
Yeah, because that one won the Newbery Honor. I can't remember which year it would have been, but that one got a Newbery Honor medal, which is sort of the runner-up.
Okay, I honestly didn't know like that. Like I've seen the movie plenty of times. I didn't realize it was based off of
it's an interesting story, and I'll try to get the condensed version here, but it's like Disney in the 80s, and they were that kind of slump before the whole big renaissance. They were trying to I mean, Rachel probably knows this, they were trying to kind of beef up their animation department, do better animated movies, and they thought, well, here's this popular fantasy series, and it'd been popular several years prior, but they just couldn't really capitalize on it. And the Black Cauldron, while it's a decent movie, it almost kind of broke the animation studio at the time, and
the whole like Disney slump, and then getting into the Disney Renaissance. That is on the list of things to talk about at some point.
Yeah, so it is kind of a surprise for people to find out, oh, there was a book on that. Yeah, and the book, I mean, they're trying to condense the book into an hour and a half animated movie, and there's just so much more to it, as with anything. And that was part of the reason the Black Cauldron flopped. I mean, I like the movie for what it is, but it's just it could have been better.
Like I looked up the book, and man, the author Lloyd Alexander wrote those books fast, at least published them fast. They all came out a year after each other. 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. Ooh.
Yeah. there are a lot of fantasy
Dear
novels.
George R. Martin, please stay.
Oh, I'm sure there are people like, yeah, Jared. There's another tangent. Yesterday, Jared and I were kind of discussing that, and I looked up the Wheel of Time series, which is Robert Jordan, and they're comparable to Game of Thrones, and they're great big door stoppers. And I'm like, he started writing them in 1990, and the first like 5 or 6, it was one after another every year, and then he got older and got sick, and they took a little bit longer. Then he passed away before it was finished. Then Brandon Sanderson finished the whole series, but it's like, yeah, for a while he was turning those suckers out one a year. So I was like, okay then. But he didn't go longer than 3 or 4 years between books before he passed. So it's like, yeah. Say what you will about Wheel of Time, at least the author actually wrote them. Unlike some I could point to, which that's another topic.
Yeah.
I feel like the first 2 books came out the same year, January 1990 for the first one, and the second one November 1990.
Oh, I thought it was 91. Goodreads lied to me.
Well, this is Wikipedia. Wikipedia might not be accurate. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's the internet.
Yeah. Point being, they came out.
Yes.
Back in the day, there were some authors that were very prolific.
Yes.
Who actually wrote books.
Wrote, edited, did rewrites, edited some more, set off to publishing.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle over Pat Rothfuss a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't go into that, but it just makes me chuckle. Anyway, back to
topic for another time.
Yes.
We're tangenting, and part of it's my fault.
Yeah.
Hey, that's part of
the write that on the topic list. Authors who take too freaking long to write for no obvious good reason. See George R. Martin. I'm never going to read those books because I refuse to read them until he's finished.
Well, you're never going to read them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes on.
Feedback.
Yeah, back to feedback. And this again is a topic for another time to go into more detail. But yes, Disney has taken many a fairy tale that the origin or the original story is quite dark. And this made it happy and Disney-fied.
Grimm Brothers, we are looking at you.
I was gonna say I've been traumatized because I remember, like, after seeing the Disney movies, and like I knew they were fairy tale books, so I went to go find the fairy tale books, thinking they were gonna be the same. And finding they're not. I'm like,
no.
I'm scared. No.
First time I had The Little Mermaid read to me, not
yes.
I must have been like, oh gosh, 1st or 2nd grade. I was very young. Maybe it might have been 3rd grade. I don't know, but I wasn't any older than 3rd grade, and I was just like, I don't like this one. I'm gonna go watch Ariel.
I was about the same age, and that was the first book fairy tale that I remember finding out from Disney, and I was reading it, and I got to the end, I'm like, no, yeah. Like I pushed the book away. Like,
this is not happily ever after.
It's just like they should post in.
Where's the singing and the dancing and the kissing?
Disclaimer: if you are looking for a Disney version, please close book and look under this author.
Yes, those are the ones you read at Halloween.
Yes.
At the rate, more than likely, the rate we're going with, lack of new movies, we'll have to get into the Disney, and like we kind of did our deep dive in Mulan, or we'll do the same thing. So that'll include diving into those original fairy tales and finding out just how not happily ever after they are.
I have a book that has a whole bunch of those fairy tales, so that'd be fun to go through that.
Yeah. We'll put a pin in that one and come back to it.
Yep. Plus she mentions some books that have been turned into musicals. like Phantom of the Opera, Wicked, Les Miserables, which those have also, 2 out of 3 have been made. The musicals made into movies, which that's another topic for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Between the bad and the ugly of stage to screen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Yep. We've got topics for days.
Mm-hmm.
Plus there are movies like I mentioned West Side Story. There are other movies based on Shakespeare's work that don't have the same name, like 10 Things I Hate About You, which is based on something that was true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of our favorite British actors have graced the stage doing Shakespeare, because that's a rite of passage if you're an actor in the UK. So like David Tennant has done Hamlet's, among other things.
I've seen that one. That's really good.
Was it Much Ado About Nothing with Catherine Tate, I think?
Yes. I still need to see that.
Yeah, I
film
think it's
version.
It's somewhere. I'll have to dig it up. I heard it when I heard it was going to be a thing. I was like, I need to see this, and I still haven't seen it.
Much Ado About Nothing is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. I love the Kenneth Branagh movie, and then the Joss Whedon version with a certain Clark Gregg and Nathan Fillion.
Isn't that the one where he shot it at his house?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's all in black and white.
Yeah. Because it was what was it? The writer's strike, I think, or something.
I think something like that.
It was about the same time of the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog came out, because they were Hollywood wasn't making anything because of the strike, so they're like, well, I guess I'll just have people over and do stuff at my house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was first discovering who Joss Whedon was, and they're like, yeah, we filmed Shakespeare at my house. I'm like, okay.
Well, he was known too as kind of like cast bonding things. He'd invite them over to his house, and then they'd actually sit around and perform Shakespeare plays just for the fun of it.
Not like you do
when you're enacting. Well, I mean, these days, they did a bunch of actors did a reimagining of Princess Bride.
That was
cobbled that together.
A trial on Quibi.
Yeah. Oh my!
And I loved Robert Reiner filling in for Peter Falk.
Yeah,
as the grandfather.
No, Carl Reiner.
Or Carl Reiner. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, they did that before he passed.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I got to the end, and he's like, as you wish. And I'm like, oh, Carl, they did that before you died.
Yay! It was your last big thing you did.
She goes on with a bit of trivia about some other things that we talked about, like that actress who plays the White Witch in the Narnia movie is the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
Yep, that happened.
Yep. There's a lot of Harry Potter actors in the Jane Austen movies. Yes. Again, the UK, 12 actors, 1 rock quarry. And at some point in your life, you do Shakespeare and you do Austen. And more than likely, you've either been in Harry Potter, Doctor Who, or Game of Thrones. Take your pick.
Yep.
All of
ticky boxes, and you've made it.
Yes.
I guess I'll add in like Star Wars too. Like, I mean, I know it's more American, but Star Wars is getting up there with, oh hey, that's that actor.
Yeah, that is true. So, and yeah, there is a remake of West Side Story that is supposed to come out this December, directed by Steven Spielberg. We'll see if that actually happens.
There's been a bunch of, like, Disney and Marvel, there's been a bunch of pushbacks. Announced, which...
Yeah. At this point, I was like, it seems like every week they're like, oh no, new schedule, release schedule. I'm like, we don't.
You know what? Until things are back to normal, I'm just not even gonna.
I know at one
it.
point we talked about like, hey, update your calendars, but write it in pencil. I was not kidding.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's the whole book to book adaptation, whether it's to TV or film or stage or apparently Joss Whedon's house. You know, there's a lot out there, and it's still happening. Is the thing? It's still there's always going to be adaptations. Either people are going to be remaking something, which is interesting when you think about it. If somebody remakes an adaptation, it's like, are you
like an adaptation of an adaptation?
Yeah, really. It's like the West Side Story remake, you know. It's like, well, that technically is an adaptation, so anyway, you could drive yourself a little crazy, I think, doing the Venn diagram.
You could.
No, but there are definitely, because of that, and we've got opinions. We always have opinions. That we'll definitely talk about other adaptations, whether it's stage to screen, specifically Disney fairy tales, you know, musicals. You know, in some cases, some musicals have been turned into movies, for better or for worse. In some cases, some musical movies have been turned into stage productions. and some movies that weren't musicals have been turned into musicals on the stage.
Like, for example, two that I know off the top of my head, To Kill a Mockingbird's been turned into a musical.
Which it was already a stage play. Just a straight up play, not a musical.
Yeah.
So.
And then, okay, now I just totally lost what the second one was going to be.
Yeah. And some have been like, what do you know, if you that have actually been rather successful. Yeah, when we might think about it at first, like, really, they turned that into a musical and it was successful.
Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, well, so I was expecting that to become a musical, but it did, and
it's a decent musical.
I was gonna say
it did fairly well. It's just it got. I think there was its failure. I think it was more on the management than the quality of the musical itself. Or like Mean Girls. They turned Mean Girls into a musical.
Oh,
and Heathers.
Right.
The movie Heathers has been turned into a musical. Legally Blonde.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I love the Legally Blonde movies. They turned the first movie into a musical, and I love the music. I love the musical too. So we get to that one.
And then supposedly a Pretty Woman musical is in the works, courtesy of Bryan Adams and somebody. Yeah.
There's a Spider-Man musical.
Yeah, that didn't last very long.
Yeah, Into the Darkness.
Yes.
With you two. Bono, normally your choices are pretty good. This one, better luck next time.
You gotta have one where you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, we if any of those potential topics
pique your interest, please give us feedback, and we will make sure to put them on the schedule sooner rather than later.
Yeah, if we're batting these around, they're like, hey, I want you guys to talk about this. Let us know. Yeah. Then we'll move that up the schedule, as it were.
Yeah. You know we love reading, but sometimes it's hard to find time to physically sit down with a book, which is why the Five-ish Fangirls has proudly partnered with Audible. Audible is a leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs. Whatever makes you squee, there's a perfect listen for you. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals. Whether you're adventuring through time and space, running from dinosaurs, or capturing ghosts, with the free app, audiobooks go where you go. You can download titles and listen offline, anytime, anywhere. Even if you switch devices, you'll never lose your place. And right now, Five-ish Fangirls listeners can sign up for a free 30-day trial by going to audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's 30 days to check out not only their huge collection of audiobooks, but also podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. So continue the joy of reading with Audible. Don't see a title that trips your trigger one month? No problem. Your credit will roll over to the next month, and you can quit anytime and keep the books you've acquired forever. For more details and to sign up for your free 30-day trial, visit audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. And now, back to the podcast. All right. Moving on to this week's main topic, of course, over the weekend, it was the 4 greatest days in gaming, virtually, and I don't mean that in a metaphorical way, I mean literally, virtually. Hence, not needing to wear pants. You can game in your pajamas if you want, which I didn't, but I could have if I'd wanted to. But of course, we cannot talk Gen Con of any form or fashion or incarnation without bringing back Beth from The Crafty Nerd.
Hello.
Hello. So, yeah, Gen Con was virtual this year. My second/third encounter with a virtual con, because I had virtual PopCon at beginning of July-ish, and it was an interesting experience. And then I sort of participated in Fandom Christmas, San Diego Comic-Con, but all their stuff was pre-recorded, so all you're really doing is going to a link and pushing play on a video.
Yeah. That's not as fun.
Yeah, that's not quite the same, although it was pretty cool. There were some cool videos that I watched that I'm pretty sure most of that stuff is up on the interwebs, mostly on YouTube. I will put links to the ones that I found the most interesting in the show notes for anyone that may care about that. But Gen Con, on the other hand, was, other than one event that I did that was just a pre-recorded video, everything else was live in some form or fashion, but they were all over the place as far as platforms. They use YouTube Live, Zoom, Twitch. I played one game, I demoed one game, and we used Discord and the Tabletop Simulator engine from Steam, which was interesting because I'd never done that before.
Yeah, I've never used Tabletop Simulator before. I've used Roll20, which was the platform that the one game that I was thinking of doing, and then realized I maybe didn't know enough about 5th edition D&D to play this game, because, well, I've played D&D before, not 5th edition, and I've played a lot of other tabletops, but not 5th edition D&D. So I'm like, maybe my first experience with this shouldn't be in Gen Con with a bunch of people who sound like they really know what they're doing.
Yeah,
so
that's why I prefer demos, because you can still play, but they know you know nothing.
Exactly. And so I should have done demos instead of that one. I chickened out on that, and then ended up using the system credit to go into a second quilting workshop, so that worked out.
Yay!
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome quilts, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, when the catalog finally went live and we could see what was going to be offered, because I was very curious because we knew it was going to get canceled, unfortunately.
Yeah, they didn't have any choice.
This is a convention that brings in like 50,000 people.
70,000 usually. I think with last year, 70,000 people.
50 plus thousand people on an annual basis. So yeah,
And even
wasn't
in a
gonna
good
happen.
year, everybody gets con crud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna move this virtual. Like, how much is actually gonna? Because it's one thing for like another convention like San Diego or something where it's like you have panels with like celebrities. It was easy enough for them to record said celebrities, panelists, and then place that up on the interweb somewhere. It's
Mhm.
another when this is a convention that relies on hands-on, literally, for like a majority of its events and what it is built around. So it's like, how do you convert that into an online convention?
Yeah. And given the amount of time that Gen Con had between when they canceled, I think in May, and this past weekend, I think they did, given everything going on right now, given the limitations of trying to put Gen Con online when it's not really an online con, I think they did a good job with it. I really do. I was actually pretty pleased with my experience. I know there were some people who were having issues with like the platforms that some of their games were on.
Yeah.
But that's not Gen Con's fault. So, and
yeah.
they did a lot of things. They did practically everything. As you said, practically everything was live.
Yeah.
Like the opening ceremonies, I think some parts of that had been pre-recorded, but most of that was live. I went to a number of live musical performances. Like I got to go see the Double Clicks. I saw Sarah Donner, who usually I think she's with the group Kitten Slay Dragons. Well, she was sitting in her kitten room in her house, singing with cats, sometimes about cats, and just had tiny little kittens that she would occasionally. One of them would try to climb up the front of her. They all had they all had. I think most of the ones that she talked about had Battlestar Galactica themed names. Like they had the cat named President Laura Roslin or Madam President, and then they had Boomer, and I think they might have had a Starbuck. But yeah. So and that was like. Everything that I went to, like the quilting workshops that I went to, that was all live. And like the quilting workshops were especially fun because, so there's a story behind the quilting workshops. The Pixel Quilt workshop, I bought the Sailor Moon Pixel quilt that I worked on. I bought that at last year's Gen Con and then figured, I'll get to that eventually. I've always wanted to make this. I'll make it eventually. And then, March rolled around and I'm like, wow, I have really nothing to do. Maybe I should start making this quilt. And so I cut out most of the pieces for it. And then I got to the part where I needed a sewing machine for part of it. I'm like, oh, I don't really have room to set up my sewing machine anywhere right now because my work computer is very large and taking over every spare surface that I have. And so yeah, so I'm just like, I'll just set this aside. And then lots of things happened involving me moving to another house and then Gen Con going online. And then I found myself with an excuse to make the quilt and space to make it in. So I signed up for that quilt. I signed up for that that Pixel Quilt class. And the way that Tony of Quilt Tony did the classes was she had a Zoom room for the actual participants of the workshop. And then she streamed herself walking, teaching the class on Twitch. So, and then people on Twitch could hear us talking to her, but they couldn't see our video until the end when we showed off how far we'd gotten with our projects. But that way we could talk to her. We could see what she was doing. We had our own special camera, like aimed at her cutting mat, so she could show us specific things. And if we had Twitch up at the same time, we could see all the different camera angles because she's got like 4 or 5 cameras set up in her sewing room, which is impressive. It's and so she did a really
especially
good
for
job.
The detail where you would need to go in certain ways.
Yeah, and so I had a blast. I had such a blast that pretty much my entire Gen Con was spent lurking in Quill Tony's channel on Twitch, watching her stream all of her other classes because she did English paper piecing, she did beginning quilt making, she did finishing your quilt, and then I ended up taking another workshop from her on Bargello quilting, which is some really fancy techniques I don't know how to explain, but it's really complicated. And that was a fun one too. But I just kind of had her streaming for most of Gen Con while I was like working on my quilt. And for the stuff I signed up for, like the Double Clicks concert and Sarah Donner, I'd be like, oh, time to switch to that. But otherwise, I was in her in her Twitch channel and then hanging out on the Gen Con Discord, which was a really nice addition, I think.
I'm still trying to figure out Discord.
It takes some getting used to, and then once you do it, it's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think one way to think of it might be to think of it as Slack for gamers.
Yeah.
Because you can have different servers, you can have, so just like with Slack, and then you can have different channels for things. Plus you can stream things over Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do that in Slack.
Yeah,
So,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. So like people will like stream themselves playing video games or like stream a movie so everybody can watch it together. And there's also voice chat that they make really easy. I've never done voice chat on Discord, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah,
But
I've done it a few times because
we tried it.
Yeah,
we tried it for when we first started playing D&D. It didn't work too well for that.
Yeah,
and then it scared what we were doing. Kind of scared off our recording person for Discord.
Yeah.
Aww.
The bot that's
Bot.
supposed to,
that bot.
Yeah, there's a bot that's supposed to allow you to record in Discord, and didn't like us apparently.
No, you were just too cool for that bot. It got intimidated and left.
Apparently.
There you go. But but having the Discord though made it feel a little bit. It kind of brought some of that Gen Con energy because you could just kind of, instead of like wandering around with a bunch of people and then talking, they were all right there. You didn't have to wander anywhere. You could just jump in on discussions. And I hung out in the cosplay channel and the crafting channel and the LARP channel. And we all just talked about like games we've played and crafts we've made and costumes we've done. And it was really cool. And it also helped this introverted, socially awkward nerd actually talk to people. So yeah, I was happy that they did. I was happy that they did a Discord server, and they're leaving it up too. So I'll go hang out on the Gen Con Discord. And that was also what helped me have one of my favorite things about Gen Con is running into people I know from different parts of life. Like, hey, I can go wander through the dealer's hall and run into Rachel, for example. And then 10 seconds later, run into a friend from like the professional organization that I'm part of through work, the special interest group for University College and Computing Services. Somebody from Sugooks, I'll run into them and they'll be wearing like Ruby cosplay. And I'll be like, yeah, that's so awesome. And then like I'll run into a family member or something. That's just one of the things I like about Gen Con is seeing who I run into. And on the Discord, I ran into a friend who I ran a LARP with at Gen Con a couple years ago. I'm like, wait a second, I know you. And then later on, I ran into Rachel while we were watching the cosplay contest results too. I'm like, yay. So at least I got to
see your name pop up every now and then, usually after the fact of like, oh, there's been 57 messages posted since you were last here. Okay.
Oh yeah, some of them are active. So by the time I'm like, holy crap, I've been gone for like, I haven't checked this in like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah. Sometimes I would go look at Discord and it'd be like, you've missed over 100 messages. I'm like, that's because I was sleeping.
Yeah.
Discord doesn't sleep.
Yeah, it does not. Well, and because this was virtual, I would see comments from people, either presenting or people, in various chats from whatever platform we're on, people kind of trying to keep track of what time it is.
Yeah.
Because everybody's not in Indianapolis, so therefore they're not all on Eastern time. Like some people are like, I'm in California, so it's 3 hours behind. Or like, I'm in Germany.
Yeah, I'm totally off. Yeah, and the amount of people I saw, like, just talk about coming in from other countries, or how many for so many people. This was their first Gen Con. Like, I saw so many people post, yeah, this is my first ever Gen Con. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, there were lots of people. I saw several comments that people are like, this is my first Gen Con because actual Gen Con is too scary.
Yeah.
Or they suffer from like social anxiety
Oh,
or
yeah.
autistic, and they would, it would be too
Oh.
much for them. So yeah,
Gen
I
Con
would
is,
see comments like
yeah.
that. They're like, this is great.
Yeah, Gen
Mhm.
Con is sometimes almost too much for me. I get overwhelmed easily. I get overstimulated easily. There are times at Gen Con where I'm just like,
Same.
nope, I gotta go back to my hotel room.
Yeah.
I just can't right now. I'm going back to my hotel room.
That's
Yeah,
one of the main reasons why I've yet to go to like a convention, because like it just terrifies me. Like there's so many people, and if I go by myself, that just makes it worse. Like no, as much as I really would like to go, I can't.
Yeah.
At least not now.
I'm
Well,
gonna make
that's-
you go one of these days.
And
Mhm.
hey,
But
that's
You
what-
won't be alone. So
And then virtual
Yeah.
conventions, you can
That
go
one-
alone, and the virtual conventions, it's just you in a room with your computer, and then if you
Mhm.
want to interact with people, awesome, and if you just want to watch stuff, also awesome. So
Yeah.
I like virtual
True.
conventions.
and depending on the convention, sometimes it's free.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the Gen Con, they released the Gen Con survey today, and they said there were questions about if there was another online Gen Con, would you go? And they said, if we do another online Gen Con, we're probably going to have to charge you money. How much money would you pay? And I'm like, $10-ish, I think.
Mhm.
I'm going to give them whatever money they ask for,
Right.
because usually they let me go for free when it's in person. So I will give them
Mhm.
money as long as it helps them stay in business. But
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
even then, it'll probably be a reasonable price. But
Right. Or
Yeah.
or if they had to do 20, maybe 15 for them, and then the other 5 or whatever, split the difference, and then donate to a charity.
yeah, because this year,
Spread some good.
yeah, because one of the ways they do one of the things they do for their charity is they have this event, Card Holla, where everybody goes and builds things out of collectible card game cards, like these big giant card towers. And on Saturday night of Gen Con, like somebody will bid to be like the first person to throw coins at Card Holla and knock it down.
Mhm.
And then everybody will just bring their spare change and throw it at Card Holla, and all that change goes to the charity partner for Gen Con.
Mhm.
So
There's a balloon guy that does that. He always builds a big balloon sculpture near the
Mhm.
same area, and I think on Sunday they'll auction whoever who gets to be the first to go in and start destroying it. So
Yeah. yeah, and then those are like 2 of the big charity events that Gen Con wasn't able to do, because how are you going to pop a balloon over the internet
Mhm.
Mhm.
or throw coins at cards over the internet?
Yeah.
So yeah. If they collect, if like part of my badge money went to charity, I would be all for that, because Gen Con just does good things in general. I mean, I don't know of many other conventions that have like a charity partner like that. So
I believe this year, because they weren't able to do some of their other, I believe they did say that because some events they were charging for them to help pay for the GM's time or whatever, that some of those proceeds were going to a particular charity that I can't think of the name of off the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember it either. I can like picture it like on a screen in one of the streams, but I can't tell you what it is. All I know is that they're partnering with that same charity for 2021.
Yeah.
So that it's not like they're missing out. So
yeah,
that I'm happy about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So so obviously there were like crafting type panels that you could go to. I'd signed up for one where it was there's some where you could sign up to actually like do the craft along with the person. I guess I gave you the access kind of like what you had, where you could actually talk to the person and ask questions and stuff. But then there were others where you could sign up just to watch.
Yeah.
So I guess you could take notes or whatever. You just wouldn't be able to like ask questions and all that. And I had signed up for one of those, but that was one of the Saturday ones where I'd signed up for like 3 events because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to attend on Saturday because I had a wedding that may or may not was going to be canceled, and then it got to it and it didn't get canceled, so I ended up missing out on that stuff I signed up for. But I didn't do any of the musical performances. I just like always, I tend to do a lot of just panels of talking heads, but it was I don't know if this is always the case. I just like, I don't pay that much attention to the catalog. You know, I know what I like, so I tend to go to like cosplay related things and podcasting related things.
Yeah.
But so this year, because I had way more flexibility because I didn't have to worry about going from like Lucas Oil all the way to like the Westin in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That was really nice. Like, I'm signing up for stuff and then like plug it into my calendar, and I'm like, my calendar is getting really full, and I'm like, oh yeah, I actually don't have to go anywhere. So this is
exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, I had a Gen Con moment on Thursday night before the pixel quilting workshop, because I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. I need to eat dinner before 6. And so Jay was all like, oh, crap, we probably should put a pizza in the oven. And the pizza they got distracted. Pizza wasn't actually done until like 5:45. So I'm like, yes, I'm inhaling this and then running upstairs. It's like a real Gen Con.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
But
it's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm just gonna miss something.
Yeah, but hey, at least the bathrooms are clean and always full with toilet paper here.
That's true, and there's no line usually.
There's no line.
I was gonna say there's not gonna be really much of a waiting.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I was able to. And again, I don't know if this is always the case, but the stuff I signed up for was, I think, more variety than what I would usually sign up for. Like, now that we're playing D&D, of course, it's like, oh, D&D related stuff. I know what this means now.
Yes.
So, like, I watched a panel about GMing 101, which some of it may, seem common sense, but there were some things where I'm like, I did not think about that.
Yeah.
And some of it's actually applicable whether you're a player or a GM. Like, of course, anything really life related, but especially gaming related, Wheaton's Law applies. Don't be a dick. So that was interesting. There was one panel I went to. It was an entire hour of this guy who did a whole bunch of testing on a bunch of different types of dice to dispel some dice myths.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, he got a bit too academic talking about like distribution. Like, if you're a stats nerd, you may have found like some of his graphs and stuff interesting, and the actual math involved in the statistics. I just wanted to like, which dice are more fair or whatever.
Yeah.
And he actually wrote a paper about it. I've not read the paper.
Wow, that's intense.
His I believe they've put the video of his presentation up. If I can find the link to it, I will put it in the show notes. But based on his research, if you've ever seen people on like YouTube or whatever, you're trying to put their dice in water, and the way they float is supposed to tell you something about how fair they are. That's not the case. Dice dimensions are more important than density. He said metal dice are about the same fairness as plastic, and so are semi-precious stone, and more expensive dice are not better. In fact, a lot of times he's found that some of his most expensive dice are some of the worst when it comes to fairness.
It seems like expensive ones would be like gimmicky.
Yeah, he didn't call out any specific manufacturers because that was part of his agreement with Gen Con, is he was not allowed to call out any specific manufacturers.
But it's cool though that he like looked into like what material a die is made of and how that affects it. Because I mean, I know people who have bought like precious gemstone dice. I'm like, that, I don't know if I'd be like, if I had those, I don't even know if I'd ever be able to play with them because it's too
Mhm.
fancy.
Yeah, really, is
And,
it
like-
really in general, most dice, mass manufactured dice, are
Mhm.
pretty fair across the board.
Mhm.
You may start seeing some dice seem to be less fair if
Mhm.
it's dice that you've played with quite a bit, because age and wear
Yeah, that
will
makes
do
sense.
things like how
Yeah.
affect how they roll.
hmm
So,
Yeah, I just joke that sometimes I have naughty dice anyway. Like, there's just some that
Yeah.
like for one
Mhm.
game they'll just all roll low things, and I'm like, yeah, you're grounded. Go back into the bag.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately for those of us that are currently playing online on sites like Roll20,
Oh yeah.
there's not really much you can do about if you roll bad. There's no actual
Mhm.
dice to put in dice jail.
You can blame you can blame the computer though. It's the
Well,
computer's
yeah.
Oh
fault.
yes.
Yeah. Well, at sites like Roll20, you're just at the mercy of the algorithm. So,
Yeah, bad algorithm.
yeah,
You're grounded.
as opposed to actual dice.
Yeah, at least in the one of the games I play in on Roll20, there's a mechanic where you can re-roll. You have a certain amount of what are called conviction points, where you can use them to either do something special or re-roll your dice if you get a really low roll. So, like the last game we played in, there were some times where I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna spend a conviction point on this and re-roll because I'm trying to heal somebody and I rolled a total of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to heal them so they don't die.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, I
Mhm.
also I only went to their first panel. There's this group that's science. It's an actual group here in Indianapolis, like Indiana Sciences. So this actual group, but they did several panels with just the title, the science of science fiction, but then it'd be specific. It has specific topics for each time that they did. The one that I watched, they did 3 different talks within the hour. So there's a talk about the anthropology of cryptozoology.
Huh.
You know what cryptos are?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, that sort of thing. There was another, the physics of traps and RPGs, which she kind of lost me on that with, again, math. And there was a whole, like, one guy gave a talk about how does Chewbacca eat based on his physiology. Like,
That's
is
a
he
good
more like a
question.
dog? Is he more like a cat? Does he eat more like a human?
That's a good question. You know, I never thought about that. And it's
Neither
not like they
have
show
I.
it's not like they ever show a meeting. So
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Yeah. Well, the best he could
Yes, very
parse
good question.
based on what we know about Wookiees from like official sources, from Star Wars and actual like animal biology and all that, is most likely Chewie would eat in a similar manner to a dog.
Okay. Oh, Chewy.
I'm picturing Chewie actually eating like an actual dog, like on his 4 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like eating out of a bowl.
Yeah.
And
And it makes sense about Han's comment, always thinking with your stomach.
Yeah.
I don't care what you smell.
So that was my Thursday.
hmm
So I started. I did try not to overwhelm myself too much because I still have to work.
Yeah,
During the
yeah.
day.
Oh.
Like we're in work, and I'm like, I'm gonna sign off now. Time for Gen Con.
Yeah. Thursday was rough because I'm like, I should have taken today off. I am totally unable to focus. And then I looked at my calendar. I'm like, oh, I have a webinar to teach that I'd forgotten about.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I taught it a bunch of times before, so I know what I'm doing. But I'm just like, see, Gen Con brain already. And so, yeah, once things quieted down, I'm like, I'm gone. I'm going to go hang out on Discord and do Gen Con stuff. Like, there was a time, like, there was a brief period of time that I blocked out on my calendar so that way I could watch the opening ceremonies and also buy the Genevieve plushie, because since they said there were a limited amount of them, I didn't want to risk them all getting like sold out in 5 minutes. So I had the page open since like 11 and was like hitting refresh every so often as it got closer. And then I'm like, when noon hit, I'm like, yes, I'm going to buy this. And then I mistyped in my credit card number.
I poked my nose into the virtual vendor hall like once, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was an interesting way, I think, to try and replicate the dealer's hall experience. But it like, and I thought of like on like Thursday and Friday when I was like riding the Super Gen Con, I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. This is great. But the more I would try to use it to look around things, it would get a little bit frustrating. Especially one of the things I noticed, I don't know if you noticed it, but sometimes there were vendors that just didn't put any info in there, or like hardly any info. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not looking at your stuff. Yeah.
Nice logo, but that's
pretty logo. I'm glad to know you exist. Awesome.
Yeah.
But and like with Gen Con said that from what I heard from somebody with Gen Con, or somebody had heard second, third, fourth hand somewhere, they'd said that vendors were responsible for filling in their own information, which I mean makes sense. But I think that there would be like a minimal amount of something that, oh yeah, I'm going to be a vendor at Gen Con Online. I should, put some information here so I can sell stuff. And yeah, sometimes it was a little hard to find things and forget about it on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to open it on a phone and all you could see is the sidebar. And when you try to click on like a listing in that sidebar, it'll load underneath the sidebar where you can't see it. And I couldn't zoom in or out to make it behave. So that was a little frustrating.
Bad usability.
I know. Yeah, for most of the stuff that I ended up buying, I actually went straight to the vendor's website, like directly to their website.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the Looking Glass, because some of it was a little, as I said, a little clunky at points. Also, I'm like, I know who I want to buy from. I'm going to buy from Quiltony and Dryad Tees and Off-Roll Designs.
Mm-hmm.
And there were those fancy, I think like Gatekeeper Games had some really pretty Gen Con exclusive dice that I wanted to get. So I got those too.
Mm-hmm.
But
go directly to the source.
Exactly. And yeah, so I didn't spend nearly as much money this year at Gen Con as I usually do, and that's kind of sad.
Amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
really hard to impulse buy.
Yeah, like last year I went with a pretty decent budget for Gen Con because I had just sold my old scooter like 2 days before Gen Con. I'm like, oh, I have all this cash, so I'm going to just spend it at Gen Con. There we go. That's my Gen Con budget. And I spent money on ridiculous things like a toothless onesie because How to Train Your Dragon is awesome and it gets cold in Indiana in the winter. So why not wander around as a giant dragon? And what else did I buy last year? I bought a couple of books for Blue Rose, our role-playing game I play a lot of games of. I think I bought some Battlestar Galactica minis. I'm trying to think because last year was rough because Rana last year she was sick, so yeah, she ended up it turned out she had pancreatitis. We found that out like the week after Gen Con. Yikes. So yeah, that was not fun. But I know I spent a lot of money on a lot of ridiculous things. Like I think I bought like the Trapper Keeper game because I thought that looked cool, and I bought there was a lot of stuff that I bought because I thought it looked cool. Or because I'm like, this is a thing I really want.
Mm-hmm.
And this year it was just like, all right, I know a couple of vendors that I really want to support because I like them and I'd like them to be able to come back to Gen Con next year when we have Gen Con in person. But Yeah, knock on wood. Well, if we have it, who knows? We might have it online again next year, but at least maybe Gen Con will take the feedback, because I heard a lot of people were frustrated with the online dealer hall experience. So maybe they'll do something different next year. Maybe they'll just host it in Minecraft. Did you get to see did you get to see the convention center in Minecraft?
I just saw your picture.
Oh,
I
I think the server,
I don't do Minecraft, so.
well, I'll have to, if the server's still up, I'm going to go take a video of that, because they did such a good job with it. It actually looks like the convention center. There are recognizable places. I mean, there's only so
and
much
the
you can do in
carpet.
Minecraft. The carpet. They got the carpet right.
Yep.
They even rebuilt, like they did a version of the exhibit hall. They put like all of the little rooms in everywhere. Like I'm like wandering through here just like, yep, I know where I'm going. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go check out this ballroom. I'm going to wander through here. I'm going to go find this skywalk. And they did it all. It was just, it's so good.
Was it authentic enough that the elevator to the skywalk was broken?
Well, the elevator to the skywalk was stairs, so I guess that's close enough.
Yeah. There's one escalator.
Yeah.
That is almost always broken.
Yeah, escalators, now stairs.
Yes.
Sorry for the convenience. But yeah, no, they did a really great job with it. And
I just remember seeing your screenshot in the, I think, a blog post, and I'm like, hey, I got the carpet right. So.
Yep. It was the one blog post I managed to write, because the rest of it I was just so distracted, because part of me was like, I'm at home. I don't need to write blog posts every day. I'm at home.
Yeah.
And so like usually at Gen Con I do something every day just to be like, here's what I did. And then I'll like do like an overall, here's Gen Con 20 whatever, and here's how it went for me. Here's what I liked and didn't like, things like that. But I just wrote a post for like Wednesday of excitement. And Thursday was like, yeah, I did a lot of stuff, and I did so much stuff that I didn't write this on Thursday. I wrote it on Friday. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't write anything else. And then I was beating myself up for it. And I'm like, wait a second, Beth. This isn't a typical Gen Con. Yeah. This isn't a typical year. You don't have to do your usual Gen Con coverage. Nobody's going to be mad.
Yep.
So, yeah, I had to tell myself that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
like it felt very weird to like not come home and dump a bunch of pictures and video. Like,
yeah, like I was gonna try to do a cosplay post, and then I realized trying to collect pictures of people from Discord was going to be ridiculous, because I want to ask people permission. Because like when you're at a con, in person,
yeah,
if you see somebody, be like, oh, can I get your picture? And that's kind of like if somebody takes a picture of you, there's a chance it's going to end up online. And if you don't want it online, then say, no, I'm sorry, I'd rather not. But so like in person, like on Discord, when people are sharing pictures, it's a little weird to ask, like every time somebody posts something, hey, can I put that on my blog? Hey, can I put that on my blog? So there were like a couple times I said, hey, if anybody's cosplaying at home, let me know. I might do a cosplay post. But I got like 3 people that said, sure, you can use my pictures. This is what I would be wearing. And I just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
There's always next year.
You did dress up, though.
I did dress up. I dressed up as my live-action role-playing character, Eilenir, because I figured it's Gen Con, and it's not going to be Gen Con without me dressing up at least once.
Even if the only beings who appreciate it are the cats and your housemates.
The cats, the housemates, and apparently like something like 600 some odd people on the Gen Con, the fans of Gen Con Facebook group, because I think that's
really?
Like it's like the picture that I've had like liked the most in the history of Facebook ever. I'm just like, yeah, it's just me being a goofball standing in front of a wall of games with a sign that says Gen Con Game Library on it, because I
love how you decorated around that.
I was trying. Gen Con has been like the one thing I've had to look forward to since all of this nonsense happened. When they said Gen Con was going to be online, I'm like, yes, I still have a Gen Con. I have something to look forward to. So I put a ridiculous amount of energy into this online virtual convention. I even made a press room sign for my office, Rachel.
I know. You put way more work into it than I did.
I needed something to distract myself with, because this has just been a depressing 4 months.
Yeah.
Like every time I remember, I haven't seen any of my coworkers since March. Like, yeah, I get weepy.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
So this has been fun. This has been great.
Yeah.
I only almost cried once, and that was when I was in the Gen Con Minecraft. And I'm like, this is so good. It's so beautiful. It makes me want to cry. And then get cheap nachos from one of the snack vendors.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my waistline appreciates not eating a
Yeah.
convention center / food court at the mall.
Yeah.
Food for 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of junk food thinking like, oh yeah, it's Gen Con, we gotta get junk food. We got, like, Cassie found giant cupcakes because it's not Gen Con without cupcakes.
Yes.
And we got pierogies, so that way we could make at least frozen pierogies. And we got
yum.
yeah, we got like a stupid amount of Mountain Dew and some Doritos and a whole bunch of snacks. Then we realized we're not burning 3,000 calories a day running around the convention center. So we didn't eat like half of what we brought home. Like there's still 3 cupcakes in the fridge.
Yeah.
But it was nice though to have it. Like
I did miss the food trucks and all that.
Yes.
The fact that the one guy talking about how does Chewbacca eat, the whole reason that the idea it came from was from the Der Pretzel Wagon food truck.
Oh yeah.
They have a couple of sandwiches that are named after Star Wars characters. There's a Chewbacca, spelled slightly differently. And he was like, oh, how would Chewbacca eat a Chewbacca? My favorite's the ham solo. It's like, oh, I missed the Der Pretzel Wagon truck and the macaroni truck and the macaroni people.
Oh, God, the macaroni truck.
Macaroni and cheese and the dancing donuts and all.
I miss the flying cupcake and their Mike Pence cupcake. The Mike Pence. I buy that just because it's
that popped up on my Facebook memories the other day.
I know, it was
like,
rainbow
look at this
and
pile
glittery.
of sugary goodness.
And that's what got me to get one that year too, because I saw you posted it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, and I'm like, oh my God, Rachel found a cupcake named the Mike Pence, and it's a glittery rainbow amazement.
Yes.
I need to eat this. And so I went and I hunted it down. And like last year, I got one of their butterbeer cupcakes from Flying Cupcake. And it was so tasty. I miss you, Flying Cupcake. If you're listening to this, I miss you.
Please send cupcakes to this address.
Yeah, somebody on Discord was saying, hey, somebody on Discord was like, hey, you could probably just get someone just get someone from Uber Eats to go pick some up for you and drive them down. I'm like, I'm an hour away, and they're like, pay them with a cupcake. I'm like,
yeah,
nobody's gonna drive an hour to bring me cupcakes.
Or the delivery fee would be very incredible.
Yeah.
I would just at that point I should just drive up there myself. It'd be cheaper.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then you could eat them on the drive back. And you wouldn't have to worry about them going stale by the time you go home.
Yeah.
You eat them on the way home, and then we get home like, where did they all go? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was an hour drive home.
Yeah.
The cupcakes disappeared. Oops.
So what besides like panels, like what games did you play?
So I'm a terrible Gen Con goer this year. The one game I was going to play in was the one I chickened out on, that D&D 5th Ed.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of games actually that I wanted to play. Like there was a Star Trek tabletop RPG I was interested in, and there were what else was there? I think somebody had shared an RPG set for like using. I think it was based on The Expanse, which was probably run using Green Ronin's The Expanse books that they just got. So there was Star Trek, there was The Expanse. I think there was like a couple of beginner level things like for Red Dragon Inn, because I've always wanted to learn how to play that. There was a learn to play Red Dragon Inn session, and there were a couple of other ones. I added them all to my wish list, didn't get into any of them. And then so I just spent like the rest of like the month until Gen Con just kind of like pawing through the events catalog. I'm like, all right, well, is there anything that looks remotely interesting game wise? Because like there's lots of space in all of the panels, in a lot of the crafting things, in the music performances, but like games, because they're like for most tabletop games, like 6 is like the max. They all filled up real quickly, and I couldn't find anything else that I was interested in. And mostly what I play at Gen Con is LARPs. I play live action role-playing games, and it's a little hard to do a LARP over the internet. Although one of my friends from the live action role-playing game I'm in Kishar, she actually, Shiv actually ended up running a couple of sessions of an online LARP held in Zoom called Are You There, God? It's me. Or no, it's Are You There, God? It's the quarterly earnings conference call.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I'm going to see if Shiv is running that again anytime soon. So A, I can play some LARP, and B, I can actually see her because I haven't seen her in person since like last November at our last Kishar game. So yeah, I miss people. I miss you, Rachel.
No, I miss you too.
Even though I see you like 3 days a week in staff meetings and Zoom, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Really not.
Seeing somebody on Zoom and then being with them in the same room is completely different.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the thing with Gen Con. Like, I was excited about Gen Con Online, but it was different because we weren't all together in the convention center. We're all in our homes or in our basements or wherever you can get the internet from.
Yeah.
And it was like a taste of Gen Con, not like the full thing. It was good. And I'm happy we had it, but it made me want more. It made me miss, everything in person even more. Like running into random people, like wandering around the dealer's hall, and although I did not miss wandering around the dealer's hall with like
getting trampled on
10,000 other people. Yeah, yes. I did not miss the getting trampled on. I am a small person, and I am a short person, and I've been hit in the head with backpacks and trampled over so many times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Or bopped in the head with poster tubes more times than you can count.
Yep. Or like somebody's like costume weapons. Yeah. No, I've been stepped on, backed into, whacked into. Yeah, no. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So I didn't miss that part. I also didn't miss catching con crud and having to take an entire day off of work to recover from Gen Con.
Yeah.
I think I was mostly recovered by the end of this morning's staff meeting. And that was when like all the caffeine kicked in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a weird thing because it's like we're so happy to get what we get. And it's like in a logical level, in your mind, you're like, okay, I got something. That's great. But then there's still part of you that's like, it's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not. Yeah, it's not quite the same. It just makes me want Gen Con 2021 even more. Like I cannot wait. Hopefully it should all go well. I've got my fingers crossed, knocking on wood. Gen Con 2021, I'm just like, power of positive thinking. It is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I'm just counting down the days. I'm looking forward to that. I will make some epic cosplay.
On the calendar, so August 5th through August 8th, 2021.
Yay! Yep, I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll get to go in person, and we'll get to do our usual Wednesday, let's go early and get our press badges and go wander around.
They didn't even virtualize
Trade
Day.
I think it looked like some stuff that might have been included in Trade Day was just included in the regular seminars. But I missed going to Trade Day with you. And then after Trade Day, like looking at like how ridiculous the will call line had gotten and us being like, haha, we already got our stuff.
Yeah.
So I did miss that. So I'm like everybody, like on Wednesday of Gen Con, everybody's like, if this were a normal year, I should be driving to Indy right now. Like, if this were a normal year, my coworker Rachel and I would be getting our badges from at the JW and then going to Trade Day because we're just that awesome. But next year.
Yeah. I'm again, knock on wood.
Yeah.
It will be, if we get to be in person next year, I'm definitely, I definitely get to keep my eyes open for, in the catalog to more. I'm trying to make up words. I almost said varietize, like that's a word.
It is now. It is now.
Yep. Yeah.
There you go. Varietize my my experiences, although usually like I have to, I mean, obviously if we go back to in person, you have to keep things like location in mind, because it's a lot easier to go from Twitch to Zoom than it is from the JW Marriott to Lucas Oil Stadium.
And then you also have to figure out not only that, but like what events do you have back to back? Because don't do 2 LARPs back to back ever. I've had friends who've done that. They were dead at the end of the day. Yeah, just know.
Yeah.
Just know.
Well, and because we usually go as press, normally you would also have to feed in like interviews and stuff too. So it's like, I don't necessarily, this schedule compared to my schedule last year, it probably would have been like a quarter of this, because the rest of it would have been filled in with
interviews.
With interviews, for press, because I mean that's what they give us a free badge for.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give them their coverage monies as far as that and doing that sort of thing, and then just I don't stay downtown. I never bothered to try to get a hotel, so I have to plan my schedule so that I'm not like downtown in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly, because getting home after that's going to be not fun.
Yeah.
And I managed to get a couple of interviews scheduled, mostly just by being brave and asking people directly, mainly also because it's just like, I already buy stuff from these people. I like them. I've talked to them in person at conventions before. So I asked Ruby of Dryad Tea and then Tony of Quill Tony if I could interview them for Gen Con. And they're like, sure, email me some questions. So I emailed them some questions. And once they've recovered from Gen Con, especially Tony, she probably has no voice right now.
Oh, probably.
Because she was teaching 12 hours a day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like I told her in the middle of the Bargello class on Saturday night, I'm like, I don't know how you do it, Tony. I teach 3-hour technology workshops and I'm exhausted by the end of that. And she's like, oh, it comes from, being an elementary school teacher, because she taught elementary school for a while. And so that's where you've got to have stamina to be an elementary school teacher. So
yeah, but still.
Yeah, I'm just like by Sunday I was watching her streams and she's like coughing like every 5 minutes, and people are like, people on the Twitch chat are like, oh no, it's con crud, and she's like, nope, I haven't. I need to drink some water or have a honey stick, because usually when I'm at Gen Con I'm next to the Dryad Tea booth, and so I just throw money at Ruby all day and buy tea and buy honey sticks, and that's how I keep my voice at Gen Con. So she probably has no voice right now. But yeah, so I'm doing a couple of interviews, and I've also got to email the Gen Con marketing email because I want to interview the Gen Con online community manager, Kelsey, because they did a great job. And also I think there might be 3 of them, because it seemed like Kelsey was everywhere on Discord. And so I'm just like, I'm curious, how does one get to work for Gen Con, and how did planning Gen Con online go? Like, tell me all of your Gen Con secrets. Also, you're cool. So yeah, so that was just like, so I'm doing a couple of interviews this year, because usually
Did you utilize the messaging system in the registration at all?
I did not. I've seen other people use it, but I didn't end up using it at all.
Okay, that was something. I don't know if this is something that's new because everything's online this year, but when you register for events, you could go to your schedule, and what they did this year is you could click on something, and then it had like all of the event details for that particular event, but then it also had a messaging system, so like the person hosting it could put in information like, here's the Zoom link, or if you have questions, let us know. And It was
I
really
think
weird at first because I didn't know that was a thing, and I start getting these emails in my inbox like, you have a message from blah blah
yeah.
blah, and I'm like, what?
I think
So,
I think the messaging system might have been like one way last year or in previous years where the people
Maybe.
organizing can send you a message. This year I think was the first year where people could send a message back, or send a message to like the entire group, because anybody could go in and message people from that. Like I've been getting messages about the Double Clicks concert from people saying, "Hey, is this recorded? Can we watch this online somewhere? I missed part of it." And so since you signed up for that event, then everybody gets it. It's not just sent to it's not just sent to the organizer.
Yeah,
so.
it's sent to anybody who's registered. So
Yep. So yeah.
I found that interesting that some were like, some I would get lots and lots of emails saying there's a message under this event, and then some they didn't use it at all.
Yeah.
And I only used it once to ask one question. Otherwise, I would just go in and just kind of skim the messages to see if there was anything important. Although also you could that's also where you turned in your ticket. So
yeah.
you get kind of accurate numbers.
And yeah, also for paid events, if you didn't turn in your ticket, the person running the event didn't get paid for your ticket. So like when I was in when I was just either lurking in Tony's Twitch stream or going to her events, she said, don't forget to turn in your tickets, because even if you're here, even though, yes, I know you showed up, Gen Con doesn't know you showed up until you hit that button.
Yeah.
So, because there's no way to turn in a paper ticket here. You have to, yeah. And I know that they're thinking of doing more electronic ticketing in the future, but I don't think it's going to be quite the way they did it this year. Like it's all going to be attached to your badge, and that you just get your badge scanned as you go in.
Yeah, because that's what we did at Trade Day last year, is they would just scan our badges.
Yeah, and I like that. It means less for me to worry about losing, like, because I'm always worried about losing my tickets. And then what happens if I lose it and then have to go get another copy printed? Will they let me print another copy? I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. So I plus also I think less paper stuff means less waiting in lines to like go get tickets, because that's the only thing I have to go to will call for anymore is my tickets for events that are paper tickets. And yeah, that depending on when you go, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that line.
I remember like a couple years ago.
The entire convention center, then out the door.
Almost. I heard one year it made it down to Lucas Oil.
Yep, down the street. So.
Yep. Yeah. No. And in August, you don't want to be standing out in the street in Indianapolis in the heat and the sun for multiple hours.
See, that's a plus to a virtual con.
Exactly. There's no will call.
Pluses and minuses to both.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh.
Pluses, there's no will call. Everything's right there.
Yeah.
The minuses, you're not in Indy.
Yeah.
You're not with everybody.
Yep.
You don't have all the tasty food.
Yep. Okay, so heaven forbid Gen Con has to be virtual again next year.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you would like to see done differently?
I think one of the things that I would do differently is I'd want to find some other way to organize the looking glass. I know they wanted to do something unique, and it looked cool, but it didn't work on mobile. It was a little clunky sometimes, and also since vendors had to put in their own information, since not everybody did it, maybe make it so that way when people submit their vendor applications, that you at least get some information from them that then goes into just like a minimal like placeholder thing for their looking glass thing. Mm-hmm. And also, it seems like not all of the gaming platforms granted, Gen Con didn't have like a specific agreement with like, yes, we're all only going to run on these 3 things.
Yeah.
But like it seems like not all of the gaming platforms held up to the onslaught of Gen Con traffic. Like I think there was one tabletop, I think Tabletopia, I can't remember. And I think even Roll20 was having some problems on Wednesday night and Thursday, probably from everybody like, hey, gotta check into my game. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how you would get around that unless like they officially partnered with like 2 or 3 groups that they're like, yeah, we have the servers, we have the support, we can host 40,000 gamers. Did you see that? 40,000 people registered for Gen Con Online.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So no wonder some of those tabletop gaming platforms online had some issues. But yeah, maybe like I'd say like maybe partnering with some specific ones to be like, yeah, hey, we're working with these 3 groups because we know they've got the server capacity and the infrastructure, and you know, but again, they had 3 months to plan this, if that. So it's completely understandable that they're just like, hey, whatever your event host feels comfortable using, go ahead.
Yeah.
But and then also, one of the things that I think is they probably needed clearer instruction on was how to turn in your tickets, because I saw a lot of confusion about turning in tickets, why people should do it, when they should do it. Because I think even at the Double Clicks concert, even though that was free, they said, yeah, please turn in your tickets, because you turning in your tickets shows that there's enough interest in us being here, and that means we could come back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like nobody really knew how to turn in their tickets. And then it hit me this morning while I'm drinking my tea. I'm like, I could have made a training video on that. I could have gone into video voice. You know what I'm talking? I sound totally different in my IT training video voice, but I could have gone all into like, all right, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to turn in your event tickets for Gen Con Online.
And then post it in the Discord server.
Go to gencon.com. Exactly. But just like go into teaching voice and just do this, and then just share it with everybody. So Gen Con Online, if you hear this, I will record training videos for everything you need. Let me do it. This is something I love to do. So yeah, if they hear this,
we'll make videos for Badge.
We will do this. Yeah, we will make any training videos. I can show you examples of my work
for generics.
I can tell. I've got examples of my work. People love me. I
would definitely agree that the Gen Con like interface for the website is not the most intuitive. Like I was today years old when not literally today, when it started on Thursday. I was Thursday years old when going to figure out how to turn in my ticket, that I realized that when you log in, if you click on your name,
I
don't use the drop down where it says like my profile or whatever,
my packets or whatever.
Just click on your name. It will take you to a page with all of your tickets and a schedule that you can click on.
Exactly. I only heard that
registered for.
And I've
always had to reference my email.
Yep.
My receipt and the catalog to plug things in my calendar. I'm like, how did I not know that I had it's in order.
I know, right?
In chronological order, right there. Everything I need.
Exactly. And it's still there. I just went to the Gen Con website and clicked on it, and it's all there, so I can see a history of my Gen Con.
Yes.
It was fabulous.
How did I not know this was a
I
thing?
know. Well, maybe we should just record training videos on how to use the Gen Con website and just send them to Gen Con and be like, hey, we made these for you. We're professional technology trainers. We will train people on your technology. I will.
I'll take a plushie.
Yeah, I mean, I already bought 2 t-shirts this year for Gen Con. I never do that. I got the Gen Con 2020 shirt and my heart belongs to Gen Con shirt, because really it does. But yeah, no, I'm really like, I will make these for you. I don't know, send me something cool. You don't even have to send me something cool. I love you anyway. Just keep doing Gen Con. That's enough for me. But
I think a lot of the online stuff, at least for you and me, I'm sure there are probably some other people too, that you're looking at it in a slightly different perspective.
Exactly.
Because we're IT people.
Exactly.
We work in right now we're forced to do all of our work
everything is online.
So it's like all I'd go into some of these like seminars, and they'd be in Zoom, and they at least got it set up enough that when the people come into Zoom that they're automatically muted, which is always good. But, people would be like, trying to figure out how to share their screen and like, well, I'm muted, so I can't tell you.
Oh, gosh.
Like, no, this button, and it's like, this is not something you can easily type in the chat.
Yeah, and I was sitting there, I was piggybacking off of a show that Jay and Cassie were watching on Thursday night, and we're sitting there, we're watching. It was like a combination of live stuff and pre-recorded stuff, and we can hear somebody talking to somebody else in the background, and like the person hosting had to pause the video and be like, excuse me? Can y'all mute your mics, because we're trying to watch this video that we're trying to show you. So please, everybody, mute your microphones. Yeah. And I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah.
But
like, even if Gen Con doesn't like partner with specific platforms, whatever platforms people decide to use, maybe suggest that they know how to use.
I will totally rebrand all my Zoom video. I will totally do like Gen Con specific Zoom videos. I've done so many Zoom videos for work that I can teach Zoom in my sleep now. What I would totally do, like Gen
just
Con,
send them the Zoom stuff we have anyway. But like, please reference.
But I would brand it with Gen Con, because I love doing that kind of stuff.
We'll rebrand if you want, but just in case.
Yeah, I would totally do a Gen Con Zoom for hosts and Gen Con Zoom for participants thing, like I just did for work.
Yeah. Like the other platforms like Twitch, like I understand it enough to
that was really easy. Yeah, push play,
a lot of
the chat.
Yeah, like some of the stuff in Twitch I don't understand, but I think that's more a cultural thing than a platform thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the one game that I did in the tabletop simulator, the learning curve was very steep there, because it's like I'm playing a game that I don't know anything about. Of course, it was a demo, so we had someone, one of the game designers literally walking us through it, but it's like at the same time I'm using this platform that's like, I don't know what any of the hotkeys are. I don't know what buttons to push.
Exactly.
I'm really lost.
Yeah.
The game was fun as the librarians. They're coming out with an official librarians tabletop card game.
Nice.
So.
Nice. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's still in the prototype phase, but they're hoping to get on Kickstarter this fall.
Ooh, nice.
Possibly. But it is official, so it's like all of the like all the artwork on the cards and everything is like images from the TV show. I played Cassandra.
Ooh, nice.
Yay.
I play Cassandra.
If they do start a Kickstarter, send me the link,
please. Yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely going back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were like, how familiar are you with the tabletop simulator? I'm like, not. Like, how familiar are you with the librarians? I'm like, very. Platform, no. IP, yes.
And like Roll20 took a little getting used to for me, because like some parts of it are not very intuitive. Like, in order to like scroll through something, I have to right click and then drag, or there's like some stuff that I'm like, all right, how do I do this? Or like, if I want to fit a gauge on the map, how far my character can go in this turn, I have to switch from like the move tool to something else, and then draw out an arrow. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go move. And I click and I'm like, nope, I'm still drawing an arrow. Dang it. Because I have to go back and manually switch back to that tool. But yeah, maybe we should maybe I have like a new side job making training videos for like gaming platforms. I could totally do that.
Maybe.
That would be cool. That could be fun.
We'll start our own side
hustle. Roll20.
So yeah, I would say overall it was a success.
Yeah, definitely a success. Yeah, all things considered, the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and like so the double clicks, for example, it's 2 members. They're 2 siblings. They're 2 siblings who were in entirely different locations because of COVID-19. So they did not actually get to perform together. They took turns singing. It was kind of adorable, and yet kind of broke my heart. Because I'm like, nobody's in the same, they're not together right now. So so they're like, they just took turns playing songs. And I mean, it went really well, but it's just like, because of COVID, everything is forked. but Gen Con still brought us a great con, especially for this is their first foray into virtual anything, as far as I know, and they got 40,000 people to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw something like 7,000 events.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'd say it was a success. I mean, yeah, there's some
Mhm.
kinks that need to be worked out. Yeah, there's some stuff that could probably be tweaked. There's some stuff that happened that was out of their control, like, issues with individual gaming platforms. But overall, I was happy. And like the people who said that this was their first experience at Gen Con, they're like, I can't wait to go in person next year. And so if somebody who's never been to Gen Con came to this and wants to go to it in person because they loved it so much, I think that's
That
a good
says a
sign.
lot.
That says a lot.
Nice.
And as Tony from Quill Tony kept saying in her streams yesterday, as she was wrapping things up at the end of Gen Con, she's like, Gen Con is best con. And she is 100% right. Gen Con is best con.
At this point, I'll take whatever cons I can get.
Yeah.
I just miss it so much.
I know, me
I just
too.
miss going to cons so much.
That's why
And that's saying something from an introvert. It's like
I know.
It's like I got so many spoons. You know all about spoons.
Oh yeah.
Like, I got so many spoons. I got a specific set of spoons specifically for conventions.
Yes. I have my convention spoons, and they have been
tarnishing in the drawer.
Big old, exactly. Like I may have a lot of spoons for a lot lately because weirdly enough, like one of the things that brings me my spoons is like that earns me spoons is like my routine of going to the office and hanging out with coworkers and getting stuff done in the office and just normal life. So like being at home a lot sometimes is a little stressful for this introvert, which is weird, but like I have so many convention spoons and I'm going to go nuts next year. Like I'm going to go to everything. Probably not really. I'll probably regret it, but I will try to, I will do, yeah. Like I'm probably not going to, once we get back to the office, I'm probably not going to take a work at home day for like 6 months. Because usually when all is normal, I work from home every Thursday. It's just kind of my thing. That way I have a day for quiet where I'm not like interrupted by people randomly wandering up to my desk. I can just have quiet, just me in the house alone with the cats. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna ask for a work from home day for like a year. I think I'm good on work at home days for like the next decade, maybe.
Oh my. Well, like I said, Gen Con next year. It's on the calendar.
Yep.
So plan ahead. And hopefully we'll actually be together with the food trucks
and 70,000 of our closest friends and the run we don't miss from the Westin to Lucas Oil.
Yep. Exactly.
And then of course, as every year, then we'll have the Monday podcast recording, because that was the one thing I was really bummed about. I'm like, am I still going to be able to do the Gen Con podcast for the Five-ish Fangirls? Because if not, I'm going to be sad. And no, here we are. We're still doing it. So, yay.
Yeah. So, so for anyone that wants to read your two Gen Con posts,
I will have more. There will be more Gen Con posts.
They can also read your previous Gen Con posts.
Oh yeah, there's lots of Gen Con posts
coming up.
Yep,
so
my interviews coming up. I've got lots of Gen Con coverage.
Where can the folks find you?
They can find me at www.thecraftynerd.com. Or just Google The Crafty Nerd, and I'm probably like the first 5 or 6 results, just different stuff on my site. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram as The Crafty Nerd, or on Instagram it's The Crafty Nerd Official, because somebody took The Crafty Nerd first over there. But yeah, so you can find me all sorts of places, but www.thecraftynerd.com is where all the blog posts live, and just keep an eye out in the next couple of days for my Gen Con wrap-up, which will probably actually be longer than most of my Gen Con wrap-ups. And then the interviews I've got coming up, and then just some other Gen Con related stuff. So.
And then back to general craftiness.
And then back to general craftiness and nerdiness.
Yeah. Of course, we'll put a link to that in the show notes, which you can find at our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, where you can find all of our social medias. I posted a few things over the weekend, but there really wasn't anything to post on social media. Like, I'm going to take a picture of my computer screen. Okay. Which
I
I
actually
thought the
did that, though.
librarians was kind of interesting. I'm like, look, I'm playing the librarians card game.
There's totally pictures on Twitter of my not only just my computer set up next to my sewing machine, it's my computer and one of those old touchscreen monitors that we had, the Lenovo screens from work. I had that here as my backup monitor. I have that set up so that way I could watch Zoom and Twitch at the same time for that one workshop I did, and my sewing machine all together in a row, and it was amazing. And I'm like, I am the weirdest nerd ever, but it's all.
This is crafty nerdum.
Yes, this is crafty nerddom right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sewing with 2 monitors.
Yeah. But yeah, all of our social medias, our YouTube channel, I have managed. I'm almost completely caught up with our backlog of D&D content. Speaking of gaming, it's like every D&D thing I went to, I'm like, I understand that reference. I know what that means.
That Steve Rogers gift is getting more and more use now that we
really
experience.
I watched it was a kind of game show, kind of not really. It was a group playing D&D, but because they were playing in Twitch, so with Twitch you can put you can do things in the chat to make like stuff happen. So they pre-programmed some commands and gave them to us in that messenger thing in the Gen Con website for different like actions and like spells and stuff. So we could make things happen that would totally like derail what they're trying to do. They played, it was only supposed to go for an hour and a half. They went for 2, and they barely went down one hallway in this tunnel in this cave that they were in 2 hours.
Oh goodness!
People just like, oh, earthquake, oh, fireballs.
Nice.
Giant worms crawling up from the floor
they got,
to come after you.
Yeah, they got like hardly anywhere. So
they may need to rethink the special key.
Yeah, and in some cases the dice rolls just didn't work. There was this one guy at one point. I forget what they were fighting, but he's like, I'm gonna take this thing out of my bag of holding and I'm going to construct I think he called it an eldritch cannon.
Oh god.
Super powerful weapon that like, has legs so it can walk even on like uneven surfaces and can go upstairs, and it's supposed to be this really versatile, amazing weapon. And the GM was like, okay. He's like, do you have the proper materials to construct this thing? He's like, yeah. So he's like constructed it, and he's all ready to go to like use it on this, whatever it is they're fighting, giant dragon or something or other. And he's like, okay, roll to see how well your cannon does. Nat 1.
Oh, that's painful. That's painful.
Ow.
It cannon blow up.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we sympathize.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was totally hyping this weapon up, and we're like, okay, well, this is going to be something serious. And he rolls, and he's like, Nat 1. I'm like, oh.
The cannon walks away. The cannon just wanders away.
The cannon turns its head, looks at you, shakes its head,
and leaves.
I can just imagine the devastated look on that guy's face.
I know.
Yeah, basically the equivalent of a Justin Hammer piece of technology.
Yes, exactly. His ex-wife is what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, since we've been playing D&D, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand that heartbreak right there.
Yep. Yep. Been there.
So if you want to hear about our experiences with rolling Nat 1s, you can go to our YouTube channel. It's happened a few times.
Yes.
Yes.
It's better when it happens to the DM than the actual player, but that's beside the point.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that. There's also links to the book club, which we discussed earlier. So you can go vote in the poll and join in the discussion for this month. And of course, if you'd like to financially support us, there's several links for that, including our Patreon, Ko-fi, our Amazon affiliate link, our Redbubble shop, with all sorts of merchandise, and of course our Audible affiliate link as well. So, but yeah. So Gen Con said and done.
Yep, Gen Con 2020 is in the books.
Yep. So with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, India. I may need to get a onesie for Gen Con next year. That way I can
do it.
That way I can still attend in my pajamas.
There you go. There you go.
To the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.